Weather Report is an extremely fun character with a moveset that complements a combo-heavy playstyle. He has a bunch of specials that focus on closing the distance and creating openings. This video will contain absolutely everything you will need to know to start or get better at playing Weather Report. All sections of this video will be bookmarked so you can find the parts you need. Weather Report uses the stand style, like the majority of the roster, and this can be toggled on and off with the button you've got mapped to style. By default, this is RB on Xbox and Switch, R1 on PS4, and if you're some sort of masochist and play this game on keyboard, you will want to input 5. We will quickly toggle between stand and user mode to extend some of our combos later in the video, so definitely remember this one. One of his most notable skills is called Weather Forecast, not to be confused with the actual character. This is inputted by hitting down on the D-pad twice and then pressing the style button. If you did it right, then thunderclouds will appear around you and one HH gauge will slowly burn down. Until the bar's depleted, you'll be granted 3 incredibly useful abilities. These are adding the lightning property to all of your attacks, making heavy inputs briefly stun the opponent, as well as burning anyone who gets close. This is pretty much the same as AC/DC's Burning Blood mode. The last and probably the best feature of this is the fact that it allows you to reflect projectiles. I cannot stress enough the usefulness of this last ability, especially online, as the meta among new players is to exploit the copious amounts of input delay by spamming projectiles. This ability is huge because it is practically an auto-reflect that will be active for a decent amount of time and doesn't rely on a reactive input, allowing an easy approach. Plus, if you get a combo off, you get that nice damage boost due to the burning and the extra damage on lightning related attacks. I've Got You Pinned also expends 1 bar of heat gauge and creates openings, although it doesn't really have as much damage potential combo wise as the command normal. Although I do recommend you use this ability if you struggle to get off combos initially, due to the fact it is completely unblockable. Although you have to make sure you space it right and your opponent isn't on the floor, otherwise they won't be dragged close enough to hit. Weather Report has 2 projectiles, which are both triggered with your stand disabled. The first is a great zoning tool, allowing you to keep your opponent away by throwing a mini whirlwind. Even if this is blocked, it'll still send your opponent away, although the distance will vary depending on whether you input its light, medium or heavy variant. Then there is a second projectile which has 2 hits. The first being when you throw the blood, and the second is when the blood hardens into a spike. If your opponent runs into it, they will trip, allowing you to get an easy opener, although this move is pretty easy to circumvent as it only requires walking backwards to block the spike, which will instantly destroy it. Although if you read this, you are able to run up grab. A lot like the whirlwind, the move will improve depending on which input you use, with light shooting out 1 spike, medium shooting 2, and heavy shooting 3, although you don't want to use the heavy and medium all the time as it does make you more vulnerable. Also, you need to be careful when comboing if you throw out multiple spikes, because if an opponent hits 2 spikes, they will fall to the ground and leave the combo immediately. I'm Blowing In is something that you're going to want to use in pretty much any weather combo, as it can keep an opponent up in the air or deal a decent amount of health to an almost dead opponent. You can activate the skill twice in close succession, and depending on the input it'll change your direction. I either just threw up the move's description or I went and created a whole little nice table. It depends on how much time I have. I want to get this video out, but either way, you're going to want to learn these before we end up getting onto the combo section, so just take a quick look and soak it all in. You can also follow this move up with a pressurized air burst, or if your I'm Blowing In initially gets blocked, you can also click the back button followed by light, medium or heavy as you hit the final part of the move to move back, Again, light, medium, and heavy will take you different distances away, heavy being the furthest and light being the lowest. There are also two other moves which are useful for combos, one being his lightning attack called Don't Touch Me or I'll Kill You. If you hit this fast enough off of a command normal, they'll be launched super far back into the air. As well as this, it's an electric type move, so it gets boosted by the weather report ability. Secondly, there is torrential downpour warning, which varies in vulnerability and distance depending on whether you input light, medium, or heavy. It inflicts the attacker with the poison effect, even if they block it. I don't tend to use this move much, but there is a 0 to death that I will show you in the combos section of the video, so definitely stick around for that. Finally, we have Weather's HHA/GHA attack, which in my opinion are pretty powerful, not for the reason you'd think though. It's not because it can heal you or take away half of the opponent's health bar like some characters. The reason I feel that it's so powerful is because it's true off of so many combos. Just a quick little note, when turning the opponent into a snail, make sure to back them up into a corner when you go for the electric, or they'll easily crawl away and it will pretty much be a waste of HH gauge. Before we get onto the combos, there's one thing that needs to be mentioned, as it can completely change the kind of attacks you use, and that's assists. There are two different assists as I would recommend, the first being Jotaro if you are just starting to learn Weather Report, because he's a lot more forgiving in terms of time, as you have a little longer to act when your opponent's trapped. Plus, he allows you to get a really easy GHA off, and it's one of my favourite combos, which we will talk about in the next section. Secondly, we have Josuke Part 4, who has a slightly tighter timing, but has the trade-off of allowing you to hit a 0 to death combo. So I'll let you work out which is best for you, but those are my recommendations. Now, for the section everyone's been waiting for, the combos. For this section, I will put the inputs on the screen in a platform-neutral sense. It's very likely at some point I'll go through and make a video for each individual platform, because a lot of people hate having to read the light, medium, or heavy, but I want this video to be understandable by as many people as possible. There are a few openers that are important to teach. The first, and probably the one you will most likely be using, is this. Command Normal will usually combo into anything in his kit, and even itself once. You can follow this up with several options, these being an I'm Blowing In combo. This can also lead to a free GHA or electric if you use an assist like Jotaro. From my experience, if you space yourself a little before you use the GHA, the enemy assist won't hit you if they decide to use it, and your GHA still hits. It also leads into lightning and 3 lights. You can also get into the basic opener by using a heavy aerial, although this is highly punishable if blocked and could get you comboed in return. Now for some of the more advanced combos that will be good for you to learn to take your Weather Report gameplay to the next level. Just before we end the video, check out my Discord if you're looking for people to fight against. We probably have it. If you're looking for people to socialize with, we kind of have it. I'm very active on the server, but not gonna lie, it is pretty dead right now. Anyway, like, subscribe, and make sure to catch the next video. See ya.